Hi, my name is Colin Shaw. I'm the founder of Beyond Philosophy, and today we're continuing our interview with Darren Cornish, who's the Director of Customer Experience at Norwich Union, part of the Aviva Group. Darren, perhaps you can continue your story.
Just before we started the external mirrors, I started an internal blog every day, sending out some form of communication around what we were doing to experience, highlighting some things that we knew weren't as good as they should be, and talking about where we got it right, because we do as an organisation deliver some great customer experiences day in, day out, and having the things, having the interventions such as the moments of truth at the external mirrors, just created such a shop window for people to come in and read that blog. And there's now every day over 4,000 of our staff daily read the blog that I write. We have over 100 staff commenting every day from all parts of the business, not just my own specific domain, but right across Aviva, commenting and contributing to their experiences around the customer experience, what they think needs to change, what they're doing that's best practice that could help others. It's really become an enormously powerful tool of change and of support and information sharing. One of the things we've learned from the work we've done in Beyond Philosophy is just how often the answer is out there somewhere, particularly in big organisations, but your poor chap on the front line taking the next phone call has very limited ways of actually being able to know where that answer is to help him in that next conversation. And one of the things the blog's done and the information and the interventions we've done with Beyond Philosophy has really created a much higher degree of collaboration and sharing around the experience.
A number of organisations I know would be nervous about somebody in the organisation doing a blog. How did you overcome that nervousness?
For a director to be encouraging such an open and transparent view of our customer experience and the challenges and the journey we had was, as I say, seen by many as incredibly refreshing, incredibly mobilising and incredibly positive, but created some anxiety amongst others, particularly some of the board and the senior leadership. And I think it can't. The way you have to manage that is it can't exist in isolation. So I couldn't have been given the license and the mandate to do what I've been doing around communication and engagement and specifically the blog if I was tucked away in a corner seat somewhere just issuing day in, day out challenges and provocations to the organisation. It has to be absolutely connected to what the senior leadership understand is the journey that you're on in terms of the customer experience change that you're trying to make. So an enormous amount of face-to-face and inter-meetings, presenting to senior leadership teams to ensure that there is a sense and understanding of the congruence around what they see day to day, 4,000 people, some of which are in their areas, reading, and what they understand in terms of their role, their accountability, and the positive aspects of being involved in the customer experience change we're under. So a really delicate dynamic, and it goes wrong, and there's particular items that I've issued that have caused some real. I always know when secretaries look up from their screens and say, and I know from that point that there'll be secretaries somewhere within our organisation passing that to their vice presidents, directors, and saying, "Have you seen what he's written now?" So there's a fairly good early warning system that I've perhaps pushed it a little bit, or pushed it to the line as far as I can. But it is incredibly important because there is a real sense in our organisation and my experience of working with other customer experience people across the UK there is a real sense that there's a gap between the rhetoric and the reality. There's a gap between organisations saying, our customers are very important to us, and then making decisions that seem incredibly incongruent, if not opposite to that statement. I heard a good anecdote about the classic company missions annual report, which includes a mission statement that always inevitably has the lines that our people are our greatest asset, and someone in the copywriting office adding in brackets, we just wish we had 2,000 less of the buggers. Now, your staff, or my staff, and the managers and staff across our organisation add in that caveat themselves, and as a result of which the blog talk to them in a much more honest and straightforward way. So one of the things I've been talking about through the blog is that often the best service is no service. Of the 7 million documents we issue a year, we know from the amount of non-value calls that we get coming in that half of those documents simply serve to confuse our customers. They're opaque, there's no call to action, they're just informational, but what they result in is 1.7 million calls a year coming into our contact centres from customers saying, why did you send me this? What am I supposed to do? Is there any purpose behind this? So by providing no service, now that obviously has an impact on how many people you need. And actually the response from our staff has been, we can buy the fact that there needs to be, as customers migrate to the web and self-service, and we improve our processes and our systems to be more customer orientated, we support the fact there needs to be less of us. What we want is to be those of us that remain or are part of this business to be operating in a higher value space, enabled to deliver a great customer experience. So we go home every night with our heads held high saying we're working for a great business. That's a better place to be than there being more people but actually constantly fighting fires, which is where we've come from. Sure. So you have to manage it carefully, but actually if you communicate those type of tough messages in a very honest way, allow people in the organisation to contribute their voice to that discussion, and there's always some critics and cynics in that 100-odd comments a day. There's some real advocates in that comment, and then there's a whole bunch of people who are just debating the point. But what you find is that managing that change then becomes so much more easy, because when you go out with your decisions, your senior leadership announcements, your people can see how it connects to what actually they expect to be happening.
Thanks very much, Darren. So this is the end of this clip on how Norwich Union have gone about improving their customer experience. There is a series of other clips that you'll hear Darren speaking on, and we hope you check those out. And in the meantime, if you'd like any further information, then please check out our website.